get into the running backs here because they were the stars of the show there last week in Detroit. And, we said this was a chance for, especially with the injuries going on between Tyrone Tracy and, the minor injury to Turbo Miller. It was a chance for some of these guys to go ahead and separate themselves in the pack, so to speak, and prove they belong. You had the star of the show last week, who was really Eric Gray, even though I still feel weird saying that. But he was the star of the show there. So let's see how they did. Devin Singletary did play in the game first off, guys. He had our lone touchdown. Ends up 10 carries, 20 yards. A 10-yard run was his longest one on the game there. So half of his yards literally came from one. Again, you could play this in a lot of different scenarios, especially when we're talking about a guy that didn't play the whole game. And again, if the queen had balls, she'd be the king. So, there's a difference of, you can make
this 2024.
I'm just saying. You can make the case that take the 10 yards out. He had 9 carries for 10 yards.
Yeah, that's so good.
That's bad. That's really bad. But 10 carries for 20 yards on its own is bad. Let's be very frank about this. So, I think Brasillo and the running backs team and all, they're gonna take a look at what's going on at that running game there with him because, you're especially when you see other guys succeed, you go, okay, what's up with Singletary? So, he's enough of a veteran. He's been around this league long enough that I think it's just a bad game for him. But here's the problem I run into. As we talk about the game, I keep on thinking we're saying this more and more. We're going to just chalk it up to a mistake. We're going to just chalk it up to a bad game. How much can you chalk up before eventually you say, you know what? I'm throwing up now. I'm not even chalking up. I'm throwing up.
Yeah. And let's be real with the starters of the Houston Texans. They're a playoff caliber team.
The Super Bowl caliber team, some people say. I'm not ready to say it yet. I'm not ready to say it.
But not ready to say it yet, but no one was ready to say they were a playoff team last year, and they were.
Nope.
So, who's to say? So, if they go to the Super Bowl, guess what? We'll look back at this game like, oh, we're a bunch of idiots because we're talking about just, the team that might be a playoff team. But,
we'll say we're a bunch of goofballs first off. Not idiots.
Yeah. Touche.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's what we've got to look at. Is Singletary just had a bad game. Now, if he plays against the Jets and plays bad as well, I'm not going to say sound the alarm. I'm going to say sound the concern because that's not a good start then if you play in 2 games and you look bad in both. It's the start of a pattern. It's not necessarily a pattern yet, but it's the start of a pattern. So,
right.
We'll see what he does. But the Jets aren't also a bad defense, so we'll have to see. Plus, we're playing the Jets in joint practices, so I'm not so sure they're going to have to play the starters next week, to be honest. We'll find out.
Yeah, it should be interesting because the Jets last year weren't they a definitely top 10 defense, but
they're a good defense. The problem they had last year was Zach Wilson.
Well,
and everybody else.
Yeah, the Atlanta Falcons syndrome last year is you have a pretty good defense, but your offense can't do a job.
And a good running back, and a good wide receiver. Yeah, they had it all.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens to Rodgers, but. Eric Gray, again, star of the show last week, 3 carries, 18 yards. His longest one was 13 yards. So, again, 2 carries, 3 yards. The rest. Are we going to be that team where it's going to count on the long runs and just hope that eventually it works out? He also had 5 catches for 22 yards. And I got to give Eric Gray a little bit of kudos here because, and it sounds weird to say that, but Eric Gray is a guy that I feel like we didn't really see him play much last year. And we kind of took that to, the coaching staff doesn't like what they see in practice, obviously. We kind of took that to, Saquon Barkley is so much better, or, issues with him with fumbling on the kickoffs and that kind of, and the punt returns and all that kind of stuff. Well, I feel like, I don't know how I want to say it's a new skill, but it's an improved skill. It looks like this preseason with his catching abilities. He's used much more of the receiving game the last couple games. So, he had last year, he had 6 catches the whole year. Again, as a backup. But here he is again in the preseason with 5 catches just this past game for 22 yards. Not a ton of yardage, but listen, guys, a 4-yard run or a 4-yard catch, guess what happens? 2nd and 6, no matter what.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how you get there. It just matters where you get. I could not care less if you catch it, run it, whatever. I just want you to move down the field in a reasonable pace.
Get them over all yards. Wow.
Yeah. All-purpose yards.
Let's go. Yes, all-purpose yards.
I got you. Yes. APY. So
today, Junior.
I just think that's kind of impressive that he's done that. So I'm gonna give him a little kudos there on that one there. And again, it's a good game. It is a good game when you get 8 touches basically for all intents and purposes between catches and carries, and you got 40 yards. That's 5 yards a touch. That's not bad. The math is very easy on that one. I like when math is easy. So we'll see. Is this the start of him coming into his own and improving, or is this just because he's playing the preseason, he's playing mostly backups? I don't know. I don't know, guys. We're going to find out in a couple weeks, though, see what he does. Lorenzo Lingard, 2 carries, 13 yards, and that 1 fumble, guys. So, yeah, 1 fumble. That's the killer right there. And you got to wonder if that's why he only had, 2 carries in the game. He had an opportunity in this game to really show. Again, undrafted rookie free agent, already been cut by one team. We pick him up, and we gave him a shot. And he literally fumbled it away. That's how I look at it. That was your shot. New Giant, Joshua Kelly, who we just signed a couple of days ago. 4 carries, 4 yards, 1 catch, 2 yards. Not a very good outcome. But again, he just got here a couple of days ago. I don't want to judge somebody who just doesn't even know the playbook yet. Let's be honest. That's no clue what the playbook is basically yet. So,
just take the ball and go.
For a group that we really looked at it last week and said, "Oh my God, this group is amazing." Eric Gray's only had a good game. We want to give a little bit of kudos to Singletary for the touchdown. Sure, he can do that, I guess, to a certain degree, but it was a short touchdown.
I was going to say was it what 1-2 yards?
Yeah. Which I know it's not an easy 1 or 2 yards when it's 1 or 2 yards, but I'm not going to sit there and go, "Oh my God, this guy, woo, great game, got that touchdown." Like that was probably his second best run of the day, but it's the 10-yard game.
Yeah.
So, like I said, definitely left something to be desired on the running game, and definitely disappointment after last week. But I'm wondering, and we'll see what happens next week of that. Get some of these guys back from last week and see what happens. I mean, Tyrone Tracy Jr. probably won't be back till the start of the season. Dante Turbo Miller, we'll have to see how that goes. He's still day to day. Maybe he'll be in next week at that point. But get some of these guys playing, and you might see a different offense. You take some of the pressure off the passing game at that point when you got good running game, and that's going to help DJ a lot. And it looks like, based on at least what we saw last week, he's going to need some help. And by some, I'm trying to be nice.
Some, a lot, whatever.
Yeah.
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.